I've so rarely seen people play the Inquisitor in like, I guess, serious matchups, right? So that was one of the
true.
that was one of the cool things about Dark Heroes series, is that it forced a lot of strange commander matchups that we don't often see.
Miss the old days of the Lord Commissar from Noisy, but those are days long gone. I mean, I'm sure he's still got a decent one, but I'm talking about the days when he was winning tournaments with it.
Probably should have reset internet. Oh man, already the John's coming from this guy.
Oh. Cause having lag. Wow, it seems like this always comes up.
Oh dear. Let's see. Let's see if they decide to continue with the game or whether they're going to do a quick reset or something. I guess they're just going for it. No one seemed to have committed anything. Bruce just seems to be ignoring it. He made a funny face and kept pushing forward. So here we go. Engagement comes down. Inquisitor getting some work done on those Chaos Space Marines, but of course she's more of a disruption hero. She's not going to really be hacking away at anything over here.
She's trying to hack a bit.
Yeah.
She'll find herself a single heretic model and then have to get out of there.
And here's the problem, is that like that little damage she did to the Chaos Space Marines, gonna be nullified by old Papa Nurgle here.
Yeah, those Chaos Space Marines not looking too much worse for wear. Meanwhile, it looks like Bruce can just spread out just a little bit, try to get some caps, but the Sentinel will also continue the harassment on the heretics right there.
Yeah, I feel like the heretics are what you want to really focus on. Maybe try to peg a model or two off the map. Because, as we already saw, like, trying to focus on the Chaos Space Marine is just going to be a lost cause.
Yeah, and, you know, it's interesting now that I think about it. Often I think of the Sentinel as having a little bit more pressure in this matchup than others, but when I say matchup, I mean Chaos generally. Because we don't actually have a huge amount of range damage coming out of Bruce, but his squads and units that can do range damage just have so much sustainability from that heretic worship that he is kind of just bullying Torpid off the field. I mean, the Inquisitor is in here, but eventually she's going to get swarmed on by a bunch of heretics, but that's going to be a stomp coming in, I think. Oh, he just baits them. Eventually does get the stomp as well. Inquisitor really low, though.
Yeah, luckily the Plague Champ got knocked over. I still don't know. Oh my gosh, they didn't go for the melee.
Yeah, no attempt at force melee. If there was no knockback on that Plague Champion, it probably would have been a dead Inquisitor there.
Yeah, the dot on his bolter does a lot of damage.
I don't think we've seen much focus at all on the left side of the map just yet. All of those points uncapped. I think they've just mostly been fighting in the middle.
Yeah. So we've got the fast Havoc out here. 2 generators are down for the Imperial Guard. No tier 1.5 purchases yet. The only power expenditure has been on the Sentinel Stomp. If it's super laggy, you should just call the game before we get 10 minutes into it and you blame it on laggy times.
Let's reset. Alright.
Alright, fair enough. Game 1, fault. Yeah, Plague Champ is definitely strong. I don't think anyone can really deny that. I feel like there was a time where people acted like Plague Champ wasn't that good, but I feel like
I definitely remember times long back. I really mean long ago, where I heard people saying that the Plague Champion was not good in 1v1, in part because of his relative lack of mobility compared to the other commanders, more vulnerable to... This is definitely a retail thing, though. In retail, especially more vulnerable to suppression.
Sure.
But that's in retail where you didn't have Raptors.
Plague Champion has a build that has no big obvious weakness, which is super good for newer players.
Well, yeah, now that we're years further, we're also an elite, and Raptors also exist. I think that also can also highlight some of the Plague Champion's strengths. He offers the most just range damage out of any of the Chaos Heroes because he's the only one who's by default a ranged commander.
Sure.
And of course the sustainability.
All right, everybody. So we'll probably be hanging out for a couple minutes, real quick here, while Torpid gets his stuff reset as he needs to do. But yeah, I hope he sticks with the Inquisitor, because I do kind of want to see that matchup.
So my guess is they'll probably just do the same thing as we see Bruce Campbell, keeping the same hero, putting it on the same map. Hopefully, hopefully, Torpid just kind of follows suit.
Best noob in piano doing in chat what they do best.
I haven't even looked. I'll look soon enough.
They're both just the usual banter, the usual pokes and prods and jabs.
I'm too busy trying to look through old release threads to find out when the Wraithlord did not get 100% fire on the move.
Oh. Did you check the codex? Did it say that was true?
Codex says 100% fire on the move.
Oh. It sure seemed like it in that Wraithlord chase. I'll take this lull to do our daily plug. If you are enjoying the cast, if you're enjoying the channel, please consider hitting the follow button. You can also follow Maestro Cortella, my co-caster here, over on MaestroCast, both on Twitch and YouTube, for lots of more Dawn of War shenanigans. We just like providing good games for the fans, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Bruce is saying this will be a best-of-3, so cool. We'll have
Nice.
a full-on series. So each of us will take one of these for slapping up the old YouTube. Can't you just smash each other to settle this? Of course they want to see you guys play. I like how all
I
of the
like
old
playing
players act like they're
SS.
washed up.
I mean, we're definitely in like a new generation. It's like Elite Mod, the next generation.
Yeah, we're there. Let's make the. Can I get pictures of you guys all, and I'll shop them right over the next generation crew.
Yeah, like I'm still, they're still very much a part of my mind. Where if you ask me who are the best players in this game, I'm gonna say like
Holy
Tex,
Hammer.
Lee, Holy Hammer, and I'll be like, who's best new?
Yeah, people calling themselves relics in this game that are like in their earlier mid-30s. Maybe. At most.
Well, I wonder about Tex. I think.
Yeah, Texas. I would guess that Tex is the oldest of the crew.
I mean, he had literal children like 7, 8 years ago. But I wonder if there's also the possibility that he also just like had his children at a relatively young age.
Right.
Because I'm 33, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if Tex was only like 37 or something, and like had his children like relatively young.
Wiki says he's 22 and he's had this game since it came out. You're probably one of the younger ones. I think Dark Hero's very young as well, but I feel like he's a relatively, I guess not a new face, but he wasn't there at the start.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen his name a while back, but definitely when we think back to like the tournaments in like 2012, 2013, that's when it was definitely dominated by like the Holy Hammers, Toilet Texas, Dark Rikus.
Yeah,
Probably a few other people I'm forgetting.
Back in the Rupee and Cortella glory days.
Vindicarex.
Oh yeah, there we go. He's still he plays a lot of company heroes too now, I think, still, right?
Yeah, I mean, I might have even like cast some of his Company of Heroes 2 games.
Yeah, it's exciting kind of seeing people just move. Oh my gosh, camera bug? What does that mean? What's the camera bug?
I wasn't even aware of the camera bug.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Is that just like the camera starts in a weird spot, or is he actually?
I have no idea.
Well, he's continuing to play, so let's assume that we're gonna We're gonna keep rolling with the game. Oh my gosh.
So let's see if Torpid gets a little bit of a better start this time than last time.
Yeah,
Maybe
Torpid had been playing a lot of Iron Harvest and then went on vacation for a week, so he might be feeling a little rusty here. We'll see how things go. This time he's just not engaging the Plague Champ at all. He's moved his Guardsman out to the far side. Same thing with the Inquisitor and the Sentinel. Sentinel just, oh man, going for a little snarky back cap here.
Yeah, Torpid's kind of in a weird situation where it feels like he's semi-retired and then playing Iron Harvest and then suddenly back for like one tournament where he gets second place.
Yeah, I mean he's a strong RTS player that has got good game sense. So long he might be a little rusty with specific engagements and things like that, but he should still be a contender.
So he's able to make that Sentinel just go back around that, I don't know, that big wall structure after getting that decap, just getting a little bit of that resource disruption. Heretics on the other side, though, or rather close to the top of the map, looking to do the same thing, but it might even be the Sentinel itself that intercepts them. I suppose they might look for the decap. He
does have to stomp here, so he'll be able to deny the
Stomp is
decap.
come out. Retreats them out before they get knocked back.
The Guardsman trying to play games hopping in and out of this garrison against the Heretics on the far side, trying to make sure he's keeping his APM up, testing his opponent as well. And as the Plague Champ moves to intercept, the Inquisitor is going to move into the center of the map for a decap over here. Sentinel was capping but facing the wrong direction, and now the Plague Champ's going in for the kill. It does open up the center of the map for the Guardsman and Inquisitor to decap, but there's going to be too much range firepower for the Guardsman to just simply out-repair.
We do see the Inquisitor coming in from behind, also getting the early Rosarius so that she can tank things for quite a while. Hasn't activated just yet. And it looks like the Sentinel is actually going to do just fine here. Even the Guardsman managing to tank long enough. I believe that was a Hammer of the Witches on the Plague Champion as well, so that flank by the Inquisitor does manage to kind of make that game go in Torpid's favor.
Yeah, that was really well executed so far by Torpid. Like you said, a very different engagement from game number one.
Yeah, I like the way Torpid's playing in this game. The way, like, that flank from the Inquisitor worked out well. I like the way he's been microing the Sentinel, where it's kind of often on solo missions, and of course eventually rejoins the Guardsman so that they can get some repairs. But the Sentinel's been very effective as well.
Yeah, another big stomp going down there, forcing the retreat on the Heretics. There's a Havoc on the field, but it's in the center of the map, just capping points. So it hasn't really been able to contribute to anything yet, and we do have an artillery spotter in response to that from Torpid.
Yeah, I personally very rarely view having a setup team capture a point as ideal, because they can't be set up while you're doing that. It's one of the things that when Company of Heroes 2 came out and you had more of a capture area and setup teams could actually set up and cap at the same time, I thought it was a big improvement, but here in this game, like, they can't even really easily set up to fight if they are suddenly caught.
Yeah, definitely.
Not like he was interrupted, though.
Not to mention they're usually a little bit slower than your average squad, so they don't even move up to the point quickly. They can't reposition to get into a good firing arc quickly. But it worked out. Bruce managed to hold at the gen farm. He got pushed back, lost a bunch of the map, but he's still holding plenty on this side. It's pretty much about a split map right now.
Oh, the Inquisitor approach, that's not quite the angle that she wanted, so she's going to have to give up both some energy as well as some health, trying to get that approach. We will see the disruption on the Havoc, though, but she's still suppressed, so can she get in time? Oh no, she's going right into the fire arc.
She can maybe, a huge stomp coming in, stunning half the forces over here. This is such a huge range blob from the Plague Champion. But really keeping spread out, really adding the disruption throughout the game here. He's got to be careful with these Guardsmen, but they do manage to just barely escape with a little bit of HP here.
So, in my opinion, rather predictably, we also see the Holy Brazier out of the Inquisitor. We also saw the Holy Pyro used there, but in my opinion, the upgrade here is more about the weapon itself. Oh, the Inquisitor getting pretty close to dying. She might indeed. Oh no, overextension there on the Inquisitor.
Got the old bolter butt to the back of the head on that one.
So if she were still alive, I feel like that Holy Brazier would put in a lot of work. It's more about the power melee damage against the Chaos Space Marines. along with that Rosarius, gives you a melee tank build, which Bruce could have struggled with if he hadn't actually just straight up killed the Inquisitor. We also now have the double Havoc to make that quite a bit tougher.
And the Spotter's doing great work here too, just constantly denying range firepower, knocking squads around, providing disruption. A second Havoc squad comes out. Torpid, let's see, taking a look at his resources. I guess he's saving up for tier 2 at this point, but since he invested so much in the Inquisitor, I wouldn't be surprised to see him buy the Inquisitor back. But he's probably just stressing getting into tier 2. It's one thing when you lose an unupgraded hero, but when you've invested that resources into your hero instead of maybe an additional squad or something along those lines, your hero ends up being a lot of your field presence. So you really need to consider if it's worth delaying bringing that hero back onto the map or not.
Yeah, and of course, like, the cost of getting something like the Holy Brazier and the Rosarius combined is roughly equivalent to, say, getting like a heavy weapon team or something.
Alright, so unfortunately the Inquisitor caught in a pretty big crossfire here. Nice support from the artillery spotters, dropping a mortar, but the second Havoc is out here. And it's gonna be getting harder and harder to break this Plague Champion's line. The spotters are doing a great job of disrupting the setup teams, but if you don't have the firepower to actually scare these squads off, they can just kind of reset up, continue pouring out the suppression. And Torpid actually beating Bruce into tier 2 here. Bruce did spend a lot of resources, I suppose. He got both of his grenade launchers, the 2 Havocs.
Yeah, getting the double Havocs. The double Havocs, I mean, they've now been shutting down the Inquisitor pretty hard, so it does kind of nullify, like, Torpid's investment in the Inquisitor. And with that, he also has gained a triple cap, so those victory points probably soon going to be in Bruce's favor. I wonder if we will see the Chimera out of Torpid, which would also probably inevitably force at least some kind of upgrade on one of these Havocs, if not both.
Do not lose us that power.
Yeah, this can be a weird map for vehicles, though. It's kind of very tight and laney, so you can run into some pathing issues. But the Chimera is just so universally powerful when you've got this guardsman blob, especially when you have the spotters around to really deny these kind of beefier Space Marine units from taking advantage of the cover. Being able to
it's not going to be the Chimera. It's going to be the other Chimera.
Oh, the Bane Wolf. The Bane Wolf is up and it's charging right down to that gen farm of Bruce Campbell. Most of Bruce Campbell's units aren't in any position to deal with this. And the Bane Wolf comes out. And it's not actually shooting. There he goes.
He said he had a massive lag spike, more lag apparently. Start melting down those generators. So, fun little fact, the Bane Wolf has its own damage type. It's the only weapon in the game that has its damage type. It's called Chem Cannon. It's functionally identical to Flamer, except for the fact that it does more damage against heavy infantry.
Oh. So it'll melt right through that bigger armor. Heavy armor or not. The Havocs are getting set up on the flank here. Of course, the Havocs won't really surprise you with the Las Cannon Burst or anything like that, because as you can see when they get upgraded, they have to go in their little worship mode here, so they can worship to the appropriate Chaos God. And we're
Bane Wolf gonna find itself. Bane Wolf gonna find itself driving right into the range of the Plague Marines. It stops the fire a little bit, but it also needs to get away from the autocannon heavy weapon team.
The autocannon, fortunately enough, focuses on the Inquisitor instead of the Bane Wolf, so it looks like the Bane Wolf's going to get out of there. Sentinel's still coming into the middle of the map as well. Meanwhile, on the far side, Guardsmen and the artillery spies get forced off by Heretics.
So Torpid needs to regroup at some point because he is going to have both of his vehicles are a little bit low on repairs, and they've kind of been operating without the support of their guardsmen. Now, he got a full generator bash out of that, and he's still struggling a little bit in terms of victory points. Ooh, the Hell Fury Strike used on the Chaos Space Marines?
Yeah, he was just trying to really prevent that decap. Or I guess the cap rather at this point. The decap already went down. I'm not sure that was the most efficient use of the red, but yeah, even he's questioning it now.
You know, it's also just one of those things. If you haven't been playing a while, sometimes you just do things that you know are wrong. But it's just because you're a little out of practice, and in the heat of the moment, you might just press buttons.
Alright, so the Sentinel's still on the field here. Whenever the Sentinel starts surviving in the Tier 2, I feel like it's already done its job, so you just start getting bonus value out of it at this point. It continues to put on pressure. It can even go for the rocket launcher if it so chooses. It's a little expensive, but honestly, just keeping it where it's at can be quite effective. Oh my gosh,
oh,
big damage coming down.
Out of there.
The suppressed squad was actually preventing it from retreating. You have to be careful when you're repairing a Sentinel, or any vehicle really, from behind it, because when you go to retreat it, the repairing units actually have having priority, so they can't be accidentally pulled off or knocked away from the repairing vehicle. So you actually want to stop that before you try to retreat your vehicle. A plague cloud comes in, and it looks like the Hellfury strike is evened out here, because there's a pretty useless plague cloud hanging out from the Imperial Guard.
But it's going to go into base and see if it can get a few guards with models.
It's at least going to slow down some.
It's got
some
2, 3. It's going to force a retreat right in front of the base.
It buys a little time, I guess, to continue this gen dash, so maybe not entirely useless, but
yeah, also the victory points. I mean, Torpid, even with that Bane Wolf coming out on the field, he hasn't been able to really capture up enough of the map to start getting the victory points going back in his favor. He's been taking a lot of damage on his Bane Wolf and Sentinel, which forces him to back up and then give them repairs. So his field presence, in spite of having as many units as Bruce, his field presence has been a whole lot weaker, honestly.
Yeah, no question of that. Oh my gosh, the Inquisitor out here. Oh, he managed to retreat, but it got a little dicey there. There's Dreadnought out here for Bruce Campbell as well. And there's, I mean, this is gonna be a good game, so long as nothing gets obliterated real quick here. This game's still got plenty of time left in it. Torpid does need to get on top of those victory points. He's seeming to having a hard time getting back out onto the field, and oh my god.
The Bane Wolf.
There's so many autocannons.
Fired driver. Yeah. Oh, he's calling GG. Yeah, it's the end of the Bane Wolf as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing about those autocannons. They fire long bursts, so if you start, even as we saw right there, if the Bane Wolf is even right here and moves out of range as the burst starts, the entire burst will fire, and took out the Bane Wolf. And I guess Torpid was just feeling like he didn't have any way to get back into this, which I guess there wasn't an answer to the Dreadnought at all, so that might be quite a fair assessment. There wasn't much time for him to get back into it either.
I think he was also struggling with that he had lost the map. So at that point, it's really the pressure was on him to recapture it. Otherwise, the victory points just slowly tick down in his favor. And I think he was having trouble with deciding like what units to split off to try to like capture points on the side. I think it had to be the stormtroopers, because I think much of the rest of the army was a lot more dependent on being grouped up with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's an extent that we can perhaps revive it, and there's always going to be a market for 40K, which I think we have a huge advantage in the IP of the game that we enjoy so much.
Yeah, but, that is true.
I mean, you look at Indrid's channel, for instance, and you know he's the Dawn of War 2 guy these days. He's got a great big following, has a lot of support, and I think if we keep going, we can tap into a little of that as well. But it's all right now. It's also just kind of fun. Both Cortella and I haven't had a lot else going on with everything shut down over here in the States, so we've been enjoying the casting, the streaming, and everything that's associated with it. But here we go into the match.
Things still looking a little bit rough, but let's see if things will look a little bit less rough for Torpid in this game. We got Bruce Campbell on that Force Commander, playing those Space Marines this time. Torpid going to be playing the Ravener Alpha, trying to avenge Best Noob. Unfortunately, we're on opposite teams now, so we're going to have different colors, so I'll just try to refer to the players themselves rather than their colors.
It's always our biggest weakness.
And we'll see how this goes. I mean, traditionally, there definitely have been some struggles for Space Marines against Tyranids. Definitely more so against the Lictor Alpha, with the way he can just absolutely molest scouts. Certainly a lot of good things that the Ravener can do as well. And I also feel those Ravener tunnels are also something that are very uniquely powerful.
Yeah, the ability to just pop in and out, so long as you can actually keep the tunnels up, they're much easier to take out than something like Webwave is, because you can just spot them from afar, and they go down very easily as well. But the Ravener adds a lot of ranged firepower. He's even gonna, I'm assuming, yeah, he's gonna go up and melee.
Yeah, he's gonna looking for melee.
Where is the Force Commander? Oh, he's way down here, so he's not gonna be able to support it all. That said, the Tactical Marines are plenty beefy. They can kite around for a while, maybe buy some time to get into a better position.
Oh, they'll just bring the support of 2 scouts right here.
Yeah, the shotguns are enough to force the retreat on the Hormigons. Pretty easy decision on that front.
Yeah, they would have taken definitely quite a few model losses if they hadn't retreated as early as they did. So, first Toxin Sack's going to be coming in on Torpid's first Termagant brood.
We must reverse the course of the battle.
Oh my gosh, the Ravener wants this decap so bad, he gets it!
Oh my god. He'll get the decap, and I think he makes it out there alive. I mean, you know, there's not a huge amount of melee damage on the Space Marine army this early on into the game, so hard to actually punish that.
Okay, so Tyrannid's looking like, oh my gosh.
GM DPS in range when carries melee.
I'm not sure which engagement he was referring to right there.
Yeah, and I'm even trying to figure out GMs, like in my mind I'm thinking Guardsmen. I don't know if he's like referring back to the last match, but at any rate, we are going to see the Force Commander get slowed down by the crippling poison. 90% slow.
Yeah, it's a brief slow, but it's impactful. It's just short of a root.
And when you have 2 of them, it's like you think you're done with it, then you just get hit with it again.
Yeah, the second crippling poison hasn't been purchased yet. No venom sacks on the second Termagants, but we do have warriors coming out behind this, so double Termagant warrior. And that's what we saw. Was it Floyd we saw last week playing?
You know, I honestly forget. The old age is getting to me.
We're all relics, apparently. Scouts and Tax trying to burst down this Ravener Alpha. He's actually doing pretty well in this green cover, despite taking a lot of damage here. But with the Shotgun Blast down, the Warriors and Hormigons have free reign to charge in here. And that's, again, the power of those Ravener tunnels. Those Warriors weren't on the field. They were purchased back home and immediately hop in the tunnel, hop back out. If you're familiar with Niduses from StarCraft, very similar idea.
Or even just in MOBAs, you think of the idea of global mobility and how incredibly powerful that can be. Sometimes you'll even see things like a tunnel spawn not too far away from a power farm, and then they'll just have like a bunch of units spawn near a power farm, take it out before the opponent can even respond to it.
Alright, so far the map's looking pretty good, but with the Assault Marines coming out here, this is a pretty big power spike for the Space Marine Army. They can come out of here in force, the Force Commander can lead the charge, hit the battle cry, start getting that big damage buff on everybody. And isolating things like the Warriors that can hit those Synapse bombs, and cause some serious trouble for the smaller, lesser Nids.
The Warriors trying to get into melee with the Tactical Marines, but they're so low on hit points by the time they get in there. And one of those models will also be hopped on retreat, so this will be a lost engagement for Torpid.
Meanwhile,
the Ravener has apparently gone down at the bottom.
Oh, that he did to the Shotgun Scouts. I was gonna say, despite all that, it's still looking pretty alright for Torpid, considering all of the map was in his control during that.
So much map control in his favor, but we do see Bruce trying to take some of it back. Yeah, it's honestly pretty surprising to see that Ravener go down to the Shotgun Scouts. It feels like, you know, honestly, just probably another thing where a little Rusty had just dropped the micro and didn't respond in time.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. I mean, I was watching the engagement up north too, so I wasn't paying attention, and I'm the caster. Alright, Scouts, almost getting burst down there, but not quite managing to secure the kill. There was a Sarge coming anyways. Oh, and look at that double knockback there, ripping apart these Tactical Marines.
Yeah, for the Emperor not even mattering.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna go down?
This squad get taken out, 19 hit points. I think they're okay, or we're going to see another leap, but it doesn't matter. They don't actually do any damage with that leap.
No, the leap itself doesn't do damage, but that was harrowing. Those tags got a lot lower than I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, for the Warriors, a squad that by themselves don't even do much damage, but just the disruptiveness of that leap is so powerful.
Yeah, the disruptive leap and the AoE buff to all of their lesser Nids nearby is you know, the basic synapse isn't that big of a deal, but it matters quite a bit in the long run. Especially in engagements where you're outnumbered like that. You just can't really focus anything down.
So with that, Torpid's still maintaining strong control in this early game. Ravener's still down, but I mean, it's 500 victory points to 269. Although some of these Termagants getting shot to pieces by the shotgun scouts.
Yeah, the shotgun's ripping them apart here. They do have all their abilities on cooldown too, so they might even... Oh, throwing down a foot grenade on the Raveners! The Raveners are beefy enough that they don't take any model losses, but
You know Bruce Campbell loves those foot grenades.
And this is not, despite how rough it looks, this is not that uncommon in an even matchup between Tyranid and Space Marine. A lot of the Space Marine fight versus Tyranid early game is kind of just making sure you can contest the map enough. You can contest it enough to like keep your gen farms up, not lose too many victory points, and you start getting your tier 2 tech online so you can really go head to head with these mid boys.
Yeah, and I mean, Torpid himself, I've definitely heard him say something to the effect of, against Tyranids, it's not about trying to beat them in Tier 1, it's just about trying to hold your ground long enough so that you can eventually come back later on in the game. Meanwhile, that Forest Commander having so much trouble getting things done there.
Yeah, he kind of keeps moving in a little bit too much on his own. A little bit of a shotgun grenade combo there, but didn't accomplish too much. Might even have just been better to throw it on the Termagants into cover. The Assault
Marines finally come in here, kind of with a staggered approach for the Emperor committed.
And again, I think this just might be a delaying tactic. Yeah, I don't know about the for the Emperor usage here, but just trying to stall for some time, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see if they lose a model on retreat. They've suffered so much damage, but they've still got all three. So yeah, and with the way we're seeing that Force Commander struggle to get anything done, it feels like to me, he didn't have the Assault Marines when the Force Commander first went in, so it feels like to me, perhaps another approach would be the Assault Marines jump in first, because they can just have that burst movement from the Assault Fleet. That could draw out possibly one of the crippling poisons, and then that makes it a little bit easier for the Force Commander to get in himself.
Yeah, Bruce just keeps making these kind of awkward pushes. He'll push with the Force Commander and the Scouts, but then the Assault Marines come in later, the tanks aren't really around. Normally you want, like, when you decide to make a push with the Force Commander, you want a couple of your big squads nearby. Like, I would expect the Force Commander to be moving in with the tanks and assaults, and using that battle cry to get that buff damage on everybody, but
yeah, that's a big part of the Force Commander's synergy with the Assault Marines. They jump in, you've got battle cry coming in behind that to increase their damage further, just make that engagement win just more possible that way.
Yeah, the thing about the Space Marine forces, at least before they start getting into their higher tech, is that they're kind of tanky DPS. They're not gonna kill you fast. But the Force Commander battle cry changes that. It turns what are kind of moderately damage output squads with a lot of tank and beefiness into units that can actually gun you down pretty quickly. Nice looking grenade. Warriors leap into combat, but they will be knocked back by the shotgun scouts. Assault Marines also now have a sergeant as well. But the bottom scout squad getting burned down. Yeah, they get out of there. The Assault Marines are still out here. They're about half health with all four models, still refusing to bleed. And still hacking away.
Finally, one goes down.
At Termagants.
Luckily for them, it's not the sergeant.
Yeah, the Sarge, I think, came down after the squad was already quite wounded, so I think the Sarge actually has the majority of the remaining HP there. Those shotguns, though, the shotgun scouts are just putting out so much damage.
They'll look for the cover of this Razorback, as currently Torpid does not have an answer to that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing some Venom Broods come out here shortly to add something to the roster to help deal with this heavy vehicle.
Yeah, Ravener, he's already committed to the Acid Splatter, so he could change to the Corrosive Devourer if he feels he really needs it, but obviously usually don't want to switch to another weapon on a commander unless you really, really have to. That Acid Splatter.
Wait, what?
Oh, wow.
For victory is
Torpid
ours.
conceded? What?
Wait. He had 400 victory points. He had 300 rec and 150 power, and he just says GG at the sight of a Razorback.
I mean,
All
it's
right.
not like he was that far off from getting a Venom Brood.
Yeah, I don't know. That's, I suppose.
Yeah,
That seems like I just don't feel like trying to figure out a solution to me.
Yeah, that does feel like I've run into something, I've run into an obstacle, I'm just like so frustrated about it and just not in the greatest headspace that I'm done.
Yeah, I guess so. He just feels like that's checkmate. But you know, a lot of people are saying a lot of things. But we've seen Dark Hero come back from stranger situations.
Yeah, I was thinking of that myself. I feel like the opposite of that is Dark Hero looking like on most paths on the flowchart are leading to him losing the game, and he's staying it long enough so he can find like that 10th one that actually leads to him staying in and possibly even winning.
All right. Well, Bruce is gonna take it 2-0 in a kind of unceremonious end there. I mean, he got a weird war gear on his Ravener, but that doesn't lose the game, I don't think. Oh well. He made the call. The game is done. We did have we had Sarges coming down on the tax. They were almost level 3. I don't know if he would have gone Stern Guard for them or not. But yeah. 2-0 for Bruce Campbell.